Back to the Claire Codes channel. In this video, as you can read by the title, we are going to be learning Ren'Py, and specifically, and let me pull that up actually for you. So it's really a project I'm going to go over called Shop Friend, or an inventory and gifting system. So if we start this visual novel, first we see 3 buttons, and they are image buttons, and they have an idle, which you can see here, and a hover. And so first we go to work, time to work, you earn $10, now you have $10. And we can also see we have in our heads up display a backpack, and right now it's the inventory and there's nothing in it, but we do have $10. So that's great. We'll go back to the main menu, and then, or not really main menu, but the menu that we've created, this overlay menu. And then we can go to the shop, welcome to the store. We can buy flowers for $10, you bought flowers. And now if we go to our backpack, we have flowers in our inventory, and these also have idle and hover features. If I click on it, it says I can't use that right now. Close that. Get back here to this menu. And then if we go to the park, we can see, oh, our friend is here. Is that something for me? Maybe I'll check my backpack. I bought you these flowers. Wow, thank you so much. Close the inventory. And now you can see she has heart eyes. I'm really happy you gave me that gift. It's great to see you happy. Okay, so this is what we're going to work on creating today. So I created a gist on GitHub, which has the whole folder set up. It has the script, and it has the inventory screens that go in screen.rpy, but I'm also going to explain them to you as well. But I just want you to know that this will be linked below, so you know exactly what you need to create the same project that I just demoed to you just now. So next, let's create a new project. Let's continue. I'm going to call this shop. I'm not spelling it the old way, but like a ye old shop. All right, shop demo. Continue. I'm going to make it 1920 by 1080. Continue. Yes, I like that one. I kind of like having, it's like, you know, flowers, so like something green. All right, continue with that. But it doesn't matter. You can always change that later. And then this will all load. And then I can open the project. So then you're going to go into game, and I have it set up so that it opens with Visual Studio Code. So far, the image folder should be empty. If you open the gist, you can click here, and if you do command click on this, it'll open a new tab, and you can open up Imgur, and that should also be this tab. Yeah, okay, same. And it'll have all the images there that you need for this project. These are 1920 by 1080. And let me get you the button dimension. For main choice buttons, those are 400 pixels by 100 pixels. And the inventory backpack, well, I believe I made, yes, the inventory and the money, which you don't really need for this, but you do need the flowers. If you expanded it to have money in your backpack as well, those are all 100 pixels by 100 pixels. Okay. And what you can do is you can get them all on your computer, and then make sure you go back to this gist for the names. All of the images. So right, I have all the images here, and I'm just going to drop them into the image folder like that. Okay. So now that we have images, we can start working on our script. Should be like empty basically, just have Eileen and our screens.rpy. So let's start by creating our first screen. I like to scroll down a little bit to where in-game screens happens. And go here. So we're going to first create our first screen called screen HUD, or heads up display. And this is where the backpack is going to appear. And we're going to make it an image button. Like so, colon. And then we're going to give it idle of backpack idle.png, as you can see from here. And now for our action, we want it to show inventory screen, which we haven't created yet, but we will soon. And then we set the align it, so we X line 0.95, Y align 0.05, And then I chose to have the text of the money display. And this should be money sign and then in brackets money, because this is going to be a variable that we define. And then we also give this an x position of 0.91, and you can move this around if you want. Right now it's kind of on top of the backpack, which might not always be ideal, but I thought it worked for our demo. And then size, this is 30 pixels, and color, I'm just gonna give it white, so FFF, hashtag FFF. Okay, great, and that's our screen HUD. And while we're working on that, this made me think it might be a good time to go into our script and just, we can actually leave label start and our this, but let's define our characters. So in this game, there's the main character. We can define them as MC, and that is you, main character. And then we're just gonna copy that. And we also want to define the friend character. Oops, if I can spell. And then our game state, we'll start with all of our different variables. We start them as default. So first we have money starts as 0. Anything in our inventory, right now our inventory is, you guessed it, empty, so it's an empty array or empty list. And then we keep track of whether we've given the gift or not. So gift given, and that is false, but make sure you capitalize the F. And then default, we keep track of the current scene as well, and we'll just call it choice. So we haven't made a choice yet, so current scene is choice. And then we have one more thing to define. We have our item database. And curly brace. First we have in quotes flowers. Name. Flowers. And then we have an idle image for it, right? So we have idle. Flowers. Idle. Oop, not 2 dots. You were watching your screen, you're like, oh, what is this person doing? Alright, then copy this. And then you also have to make sure you add a comma after each of these lines. So then instead of idle this time, it's going to be hover. And remember, these are corresponding with images, PNGs that we have in our image folder. And then what action happens when you click on this? So the action is going to be function. And I think I meant to do colon there. There we go. It's like function should look a little different. Use item, which we haven't set up this function yet, but we will. And then we want it to take in flowers as well. Okay. And then say we were to have more items in our database, right? This would just keep growing, right? So now let's init our Python script. So we write init Python. And let me actually zoom in a little for you all at home. All right, init Python. And the first thing we want to have is append to the overlay screens the HUD, so that it's always on display. Overlay screens dot append heads up display. And then let's also define the function use item. So what happens when we call use item. So use item takes an item. If item equals flowers, if current scene, remember we're keeping track of what current scene, so I know I want to give the flowers in the hangout scene. So if it is the hangout scene, then Ren'Py dot hide the inventory screen that we haven't created yet, but hide that. We know that's gonna come. Let's get rid of, yeah, just one clip. And also Ren'Py call in new context. So go to the scene, give flowers. And that's only, remember, if we're in this hangout scene. So what if we're not in the hangout scene? What happens? Else. I'm just going to copy this. We can still hide inventory, but instead of give flowers, what if we do can't use item? Okay, I'm going to save that. Now, when we start the game, let's, for our variable current scene, you do a money sign to call the variable. We'll set that to choice. Make sure it's always on choice when we start. Scene, choice, background, and then we want to make sure that we're showing our screen. And the most important screen that we'll make in a second is we want to show screen main choices. And those are the three choices that we're able to choose from. Remember, going shopping, going to work, going to the park. We'll do also a Ren'Py pause here. This gives this just waits until one of the buttons is chosen to move on to the next screen and keeps the game alive and reactive. So let's set another place. Remember, we have the give flowers label. So what happens if we give the flowers? So we can do another if statement just to detect if flowers in inventory. Then let's set, right, if they are there and we are at the scene, then we've given the gift. So gift given can now equal true. Inventory dot remove. This is important because we want to, now that we've given the flowers are no longer in the inventory. The main character says something like, I bought you these flowers. And then I'm just going to paste it in because we don't need to write it all out. But, and again, alignment is really important, so I need to actually set that there. So then the friend says, wow, thank you so much. But if flowers are not in your inventory, but somehow you got to this give flowers scene, wait, I thought I had something. And then we return to wherever scene we're in. And then let's also do what happens, right? Because we need what happens when you can't use the item. So let's get that. Label, can't use item. And we can just say something like, I can't use that right now. The main character can say that. And then we can return out of that. Okay, and then we know we're going to need a label for work, right? And also for shop and hangout. So these are all coming. Right, it's a very short game that or visual novel that we're making, but I think we'll learn a lot through the screens especially. Let's go back here. Right now we have the heads up display, And let's work on our main choices. There's also, you can always add a tooltip so that when you hover over the backpack, for example, it tells you what you're hovering over. But that's not going to be covered in this video. We're going to keep it a little more simple than that. All right, so we're going to get out of here, get back to the main line, and we're going to make a new screen for, right, main choices. And these are those 3 image buttons that we see. And we'll give it a tag of menu. And we'll add choice background.png. This is to add the background to it. And let's see. And choice background.png is kind of that washed away image. Kind of like it looks like you're in a mall or something maybe. Okay. And now we're going to make a V-box, which is a vertical box. This aligns all of the image buttons vertically. We could use an H box, and that would be, you guessed it, a horizontal alignment. So they would be all in a line the other direction, right? So V-box currently looks like this, and it would look more like that. So I kind of liked the V-box. Then we add spacing 30. This is the space in between the items. And then we X-line 0.5, which will line it in the middle, and Y-line 0.5 as well. And then we're going to add image buttons and colon idle. Oops, that's one indent again. Idle, and then here we're going to do park button idle, and I'm glad it gives me that. .png. Oops, if I can spell. Okay, and then we're gonna copy that and paste. All right, and then this will change to hover, and you guessed it, we want this to be the hover state as well. And now for action. Action can take just one, so we could make it, for example, it could just jump to, we could just jump to the scene. So in this case, for the park button, sorry, words. Okay. We would want to jump to Hangout, but I found that this does not close the menu. So we want to actually make this into brackets, give it 2 things. We want to first hide this menu, which is called main choices, and then get out of that, comma, jump Hangout. So first hide this screen, then show Hangout when this button is clicked. That's the action we want to happen. So I'm going to copy this whole image button and paste it. We have 3 buttons, so boom. So then this one, right, instead of park button, this would be shop, and we want to go shopping. This instead of park would be work, and we want to go to work. Let's save that. And now you might be like, oh, okay, that sounds like we're done with the screens. Well, there's one screen that we have not created yet, right? And that screen is the inventory screen. So let's get that done with. So screen, inventory screen, because we called it somewhere. This one, remember we wanted it to be a menu previously. This one we want it to be a modal. So we put modal true. Let's give it a frame. Style. Menu frame. X-line. 0.5. Y-line. 0.5 as well to center it. And then we'll give it a vertical box again, a V-box with spacing, and tab that over. Okay. 20. Align 0.5, comma 0.5. Text in quotes, inventory. Let's make that big, so size 40. And then we want to align our inventory items in a grid, a 3x2 grid with, right now, right, in this short version, it's really, there's just one item, the flowers, but you can always add more items into this grid. So you want to loop through the items. So for item ID in inventory, item equals item database item ID, and then for the image we want to make it another image button. So then find right, because remember over here in our script we set the item database, so an image button from the database can take idle item at idle, hover item hover, and so forth. Well, I guess if you were to add a tooltip is kind of like something that hovers over and tells you what it is. For us, you know, if we just have flowers, you can see it. But if you were to add a tooltip, you can add that in that way because we do have a name component. And then we want to go back to this grid and add a text button. Close. And then add an action. An action. So what do you want to think we want to do? We want to once again hide. Yeah. And this time we're hiding the inventory screen. Okay, and we'll save all that. And let's go back to our script. Okay, so we're in shop demo. This looks great so far. So basically what's going to happen is that in work, we want to go to the scene work background, right? Then we want to show, and here, let me just paste that in. We want to show make sure the backpack and the money is displaying, right? Our HUD. The main character is there. He goes to work. You earn $10 and you go back to start. So not too much is happening there, but let's go to shopping. I called it shop, but just remember we call it shopping in the jump. So make sure their labels are correct. So in this case, current scene is now shop. The shop background is now there. Then, and remember this corresponds with just how we name the thing. So it's called shop background.png. So the scene will be shop background. And then the main character's on the left. Welcome to the store. If you buy flowers, if you have the $10, then your inventory, remember we were removing the flowers before. If we give them, now we append flowers if we buy them, if we have enough money. If money is greater than or equal to 10, we subtract the money and we append flowers. You bought flowers. All right, and then back is jump start, jump shopping. Okay, that works. And then let's look over the this next scene with the hangout scene is where we're giving the flowers. This is the most complicated scene. And once again, I know I'm pasting these scenes in just to save the ease of typing it all out. But this is all once again in the gist. It will be provided. All of these scenes are here, and let me just talk through them. So let me save this. So now we're at the hangout. We have the park background. Again, the screen is up with the backpack. If the gift is given, then this text happens. But we know when we first start the scene, the gift is not given, so it's going to go over here. Oh, do you have flowers in your inventory? Okay, else if, flowers in inventory, the friend will say, hey, it's good to see you. Is that something for me? Maybe, let me check my backpack. And we have another pause just to check the backpack in there. And then after you do whatever you do in this pause, it's going to jump Hangouts. It's going to go back to Hangout. It's going to loop around. And if, for example, if gift given is true, you just give the gift. It'll show over here. Oh, okay, I'm really happy you gave me the gift. And also the friend love. So the character has heart eyes. And you say, it's really great to see you happy. Else, if none of this is true, hey, did you bring me anything? Oh, I'll be right back. And you go back to the start menu. And that's what happened. Let's test it out. So we have shop demo, launch project, a script failing. Let's find out why. Okay, I think I'm missing colon that. So I'm going to save that. And then let's come back over here. Let's reload. Oh, image button. I just forgot all my colons over here. Okay. My bad. Okay. Well, it's good to know that the tooltip didn't work. I think in my other version, I was like playing around with adding a tooltip. So let's just comment that out and see what happens. Okay, there we go. We got to shop demo. Let me close that a little bit. Let's start. We go to work. You didn't work. You went to work. You earned $10. Yay. Go to the shop. Welcome to the store. Buy flowers. Flowers are in there. Cool. Go to the park. Hey, good to see you. Is that something for me? Maybe. Let me check my backpack. Flowers. I bought you these flowers. Wow, thank you so much. And let's close the inventory. Okay, so something didn't work there because we should have went down the right loop. So when we gave the flowers, gift give true, gift given false. Oh, I see. I don't know if you saw the mistake, but it should say gift given. Now let's save that. And we'll actually have to quit this. Start. Go to work. Oh no, $20. Clicked it twice. Okay, we can definitely afford flowers. Let's go to the park. Good to see you. Something for me. Play these flowers. Why, thank you so much. Oh yeah, hard eyes. I'm really happy you gave me the gift. It's great to see you happy. All right, I hope that you're happy with this tutorial. Again, I'll have the gist provided below, and I hope you learned something. Yeah, that is how you can add an inventory and gift giving system into your tutorials. I also want to thank, let me pull up, there's a tutorial out there. I do want to thank this tutorial by Carmela Aladi, if I'm saying that correctly, for inspiring me, because you work at a cafe and you have a friend. Yeah. So this was a simpler version. So please, I'll link their tutorial if you want to check out their tutorial as well as another inventory gift giving, or another inventory tutorial. It doesn't necessarily have to do with gift giving, but yeah, I hope you liked this video and hope to see you in the future. Thank you.